Okay, we are back at the Photoshop lessons folder, and this time we're going to be doing the selection tools city lesson. We are going to download that and then open it. And this is a lesson on further extending some of these selection tools and some of the tools that we'll use a lot to make adjustments to a photo. What we're going to be doing is taking this sign out and adding a different sign in. We're going to be using the healing brush to get rid of some unsightly areas. We're going to be changing the color of a few things, and we're even going to do a tiny face swap. So by the end of that, there's kind of a few more tools we're adding to our tool bucket. What's the first thing we do? If you said duplicate your layer and hide your OG, you're right. And so now we have our copy that we are going to make happen. Now, if you do not hide your OG, this first part's going to get a little tricky. So we've messed around with some of the selection tools, but not all of them. There is a tool behind the lasso tool called the polygonal lasso tool. Polygonal lasso tool allows you to select and replace things that are straight edged. So it's handy when you're dealing with something like this sign that we're trying to get rid of. So I'm dropping anchor points similar to the pen tool. And when you get back to your original, then the marching ants will be activated. I want you to delete that so that there's nothing there. Again, if nothing changes, check and make sure that you have in fact hidden your OG. You're going to have to get rid of the marching ants at this point. So Control D to deselect. And we're going to go to the internet and put something different there. Last semester students were using memes. A show you want to see, a meme. I don't know. Images. Oh, that's cute. I love the cure. So I'm going to choose that one. And I'm just going to right click and I'm going to copy that image. So I've stolen that image. I think the resolution of it's going to be pretty bad compared to the rest of this photo, but let's see. It's not terrible. It's fine. But if it is really bad, then choose a different one. Okay, so obviously this does not fit correctly in here. So what shortcut do we use when we want to resize something? If you said Control T, you're right. You are a winner. Something different we're going to do here, though, is the control feature allows me to distort the image and make it look like it's going in perspective. So I'm holding the control key down, and that should change your cursor and allow you to move the anchor points of the image to fit inside there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than it needs to be. And you might be like, oh my God, it looks terrible all of a sudden. This is a preview because we haven't applied the transformation yet. But once you hit enter, it'll be fine. Check, enter. Right now it's sitting on top of that hole. So just slide it underneath. And now it's inside the hole and looks like it's kind of like fit down in there a little bit more. If you wanted to get, you know, picky, we could kind of blur some edges and add some shadows and things, but I'm pretty happy with that. So just make sure that you've applied it, and now you have a new sign there that will make Miss Carson happy. I'm going to use the spot healing brush and get rid of this like telephone pole. Again, rule of thumb is your spot healing brush should be exactly the size of what you're trying to change. Oop, make sure you're on the right layer. And you can get rid of some things. Let's see if we can get it to work on like people. Kinda. She's gone. You gone. And then that like big pile of trash. I think there's so much going on here that content aware wouldn't work there. So maybe we can clone stamp a little. Alt. Take a screenshot, stamp over. blur a little bit, and then that trash is kind of gone. You'll see it start repeating itself, so I kind of try to add some variety there. Those look like bodies. I shouldn't say some of this stuff out loud that I think. Not winning any Photoshop awards with that, but I blur it out at 100%. And when I'm zoomed out, it doesn't look bad. Some tools I wanted to show you. All right, so these crosswalk lines, this is what I do for like teeth and things that I want to look brighter or whiter. If we're selecting by pixel color, what tool are we using? Pixel color. If you said magic wand tool, you're a winner. I'm going to click once on one of these stripes and you can see those marching ants are activated. If you go to select and select similar, Photoshop is now going to select all of the pixels that it feels like are in that range. And if you look, it's a lot throughout, but we're just going to focus on the crosswalk. So there is a tool that brightens pixels. Right here, it's probably defaulted on the dodge tool, and that makes pixels lighter. So I'm on the dodge tool and I just kind of hover over and I can brighten something up real quick. So if you wish that your teeth were a little lighter in a photo, you can use a little bit of the dodge tool. So when I look at your doctored photo and I'm giving you your grade, I should see that these street lines are just a little bit brighter. Control D to deselect. And if I compare it to the OG, you know, there's definitely a difference there. Trash and no trash. Okay. Hide your OG. Make sure you're back on your original. So make sure this is set up right so you're not accidentally making your changes on the right layer. We are going to change the color of that umbrella. What is the best selection tool to do that? What selection tool should we try? Do you remember the object one? Let's try it. So right now I'm just going to drag a box. Is Photoshop smart enough to know what I want to change? Not bad, Photoshop. Thanks. And that's image adjustments. And I'm going to go to hue saturation. I'm going to change the color of it so that it's visibly something different. So when I compare it to your OG, I'll see something like that. Okay. And then the last thing is the face swap. Okay. So we're going to put somebody different here. And here's a couple of things that will help this. Number one, look at the direction he's facing. He's pretty much facing forward. So as long as you choose somebody who's sort of facing forward, we should be fine. So I'm going to head back over to the internet. Okay, so if I'm looking at pictures here, and then that's a pretty good bet, it's looking face forward. I'm just going to copy that. And when I put it over here in Photoshop, Control V to paste. Wow. So I am going to Control T and resize that to be about the same size as Conan's face. I'm going to hit check mark for now, and I'll make some changes here in a minute. So I don't think I've done anything different that you don't understand. The background here, I want to erase it. So it's gray. I'm just going to use delete and get rid of the background that way. Control D. Okay, so when I'm first doing a face swap, the first thing I do is I make the photo layer a little bit transparent like this. And I do that so that I can kind of line up the eyes. So here you can see that he needs to be tilted a little bit. So Control T so that his head is tilted similar to Conan's, and that'll help. And also like the hairline that my cause some problems. So I'm going to hit check mark. I'm going to turn it back up to full opacity for now and just say, hey, I've got about the right placement of things. In my opinion, on the face swap, what you want to do is blend the pixels away. We don't erase. So this is a layer mask, and I use layer masks a lot instead of erasing. I hardly ever erase anymore. This is the Mahomes layer. It's the one with him on it. And what a layer mask does is it makes certain pixels invisible. So I choose the layer mask here. I just applied a layer mask. Nothing's on it. It's blank. But how a layer mask works is it's anything that you paint black on the layer mask disappears. But the good thing about it is if you change your mind, you can put those pixels back. And you can get them back. So if you overdo it, whereas if I had erased it, I would be out of luck at a certain point. So I'm going to keep some of Mahomes and some of Conan. Okay. Color balance will make a big difference here. So Conan's way more orange. So I'm on the Mahomes. Make sure that you flip over to the actual photo thumbnail, not the layer mask thumbnail. Image, adjustments. And I'm going to go for color balance this time. It's not the same as the hue, but like Conan's more yellowy and more reddish. And now their skin tones match a lot better. And then I'm going to lighten the whole thing just a bit again. Not that much. I'm going to hit Control T. And I'm going to kind of stretch it a bit because something's weird is going on with the chin there. Turn it back up. Okay. And now, that don't look bad. I'm happy with that. You can do more stuff if you want, but here are the checkpoints I'm looking for. A new sign that has correct perspective, showing that you've used the control feature. A face swap that somewhat matches and looks different. A different colored umbrella. The brightened white of the crosswalk, and trying to get rid of that lady and that trash. That's what I'm looking for. When you have all that, you are going to take a screenshot of the whole thing, the picture and your layers, so that I can see it, save it, and then turn it in right here under Selection Tools City. Thank you.